This channel is all about longer classes with challenging poses, and this flow is a total body workout with lots of standing poses, arm balances, and headstands that are really going to help you increase your strength and your balance. Welcome to Yoga Dose. My name's Cece, and I'm so excited that you found this video and you're going to practice with me today. This practice is one of my favorite flows that I actually practice with one of my teachers, Nicole Snow, and she actually learned it from one of her teachers, Tim Miller. So it's a very special flow. We'll just begin seated. Raise your arms overhead, drop your left hand to the side, and stretch out through the right side of your body. Just begin to connect to your breath here and take it over to the other side. Right hand on the mat, left hand stretching overhead. Come back to center, bringing your right hand across to your left knee and your left hand back, taking a gentle twist. Come back to center and twist to the other side. Right hand behind, left hand on top of your right knee. Then come forward, taking your hands all the way out in front of you, and just gently fold forward, stretching the hips. Inhale and come back up. Change the cross of your legs. And inhale, raise your arms overhead again. Drop the left hand to the side, taking your right arm overhead, taking that side stretch. Come back to center and take it on the other side. Just gently warming up your body here, connecting to your breath. Come back to center and take that twist again. Your left hand is behind you, your right hand on your left knee. Come back to center and take that twist on the other side. So your right hand will be behind you and your left hand on your right knee. Inhale, come back to center, and keeping length in the spine, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, come back up, and we're going to come onto our hands and knees. Placing your wrists directly under your shoulders and your knees directly under your hips. Take a few cat-cow movements. Inhale, lift your chest up with an arch in your back. And exhale, take cat, rounding your back, drawing in your lower belly. Inhale, up into cow. And exhale, back into cat. Gently press back into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And here it's probably your first down dog of the day, so gently bicycle your legs to release your hamstrings. Gently waking them up. Bending your knees, take your stomach all the way back to your thighs, keeping length in your spine. And then slowly straighten your legs as much as you can, keeping that length in your spine. Looking forward, step to the top of your mat, come up halfway, creating length in the spine, and exhale, fold all the way forward. Grab your opposite elbows and just hang here for a second, and then inhale, come all the way up to standing, and exhale into Tadasana, mountain pose. So here you're going to root down firmly in your feet and raise the arms overhead. Exhale, fold all the way forward into Uttanasana. Come halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana, and step back into plank pose. Gently lower all the way to your stomach, coming up into a low cobra. Breathing here, and exhale, coming back into a downward facing dog. We're going to begin to move through a few sun salutations to really warm up the body. So inhale, look forward, and hop or step to the top of the mat. Create length in your spine, and exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, raise arms all the way up, and exhale into Samastitihi. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, plant your hands and step or hop back into Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here, we're going to move through a couple more Surya Namaskara A sun salutations. Make sure you're breathing deep in your downward dog. Look forward, hop or step to the top of your mat. Inhale halfway, and exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, raise your arms overhead, and exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, come halfway up, and exhale, jump back, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha. Exhale, Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. So here, make sure that your hands are shoulder width apart, your feet are hip distance apart, and you're pressing down into your palms, into your fingertips, and keeping length in your spine. Look forward, hop or step to the top of your mat, come halfway up, fold all the way forward, and inhale all the way back up, Samastitihi. Moving into Surya Namaskara B, take Utkatasana chair pose. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, come halfway up, and exhale, hop or step into Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot in between your hands, and just come into a low lunge to start. We'll take a modified Surya B here. So getting a nice stretch in that left hip flexor. You can take your right hand down to your mat and take that side stretch again here if you'd like, warming up your body. Bring your hands back to your mat, move through Chaturanga, inhale Urdhva Mukha, and exhale Adho Mukha Svanasana. Step your left foot in between your hands, dropping onto the back knee. Stretching out the right hip flexor now. And again, you can take that side stretch. If you drop your left hand to the side of your mat, take that right arm overhead. Breathing here. Bring your hands back to your mat. Step back into Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Deep inhales, deep exhales. Look forward to the top of your mat. Hop or step up. Come up halfway and exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, come back into chair pose. And exhale, Samastitihi. Taking B again, inhale into Utkatasana. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, and exhale into Chaturanga. Upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Step the right foot in between your hands, come up into Warrior One. Hold this for a second and bring your hands back to your mat. Move through Chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog, and exhale to downward facing dog. Step your left foot in between your hands, come up into Warrior One. Exhale, plant your hands, move through Chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Reconnect to your breathing, slow it down if it's sped up. You're really trying to build heat in your body here so that you'll be warmed up. Inhale, look forward, hop or step to the top of your mat, come up halfway, exhale, fold. Inhale into chair pose, and exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale back into chair pose. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, jump back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Step the right foot in between the hands, warrior one. And chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Step the left foot in between your hands, warrior one. Bring the hands to the mat, move through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. These Surya Namaskar beats do move quickly, but if you need to add an extra breath here or there, that's totally fine. Just move with your breath and listen to your body. Inhale, look forward, hop or step to the top of your mat, come up halfway. Exhale, fold all the way forward, and inhale back into Utkatasana chair pose. Come up to standing Samastiti. Come back into chair pose, Utkatasana. Holding here. Sinking the hips down like you're sitting in an invisible chair. Arms overhead, you can have your palms together or take them apart shoulder distance. Now coming into Ardha Utkatasana, sink your hips a little lower and you have your stomach directly over your thighs. Gaze is towards the ground, arms by the ears. And then come up onto your toes. We're going to take this into what some people call drinking bird. So you're still in chair, Ardha Utkatasana, but your arms are back and you're on your toes. Now planting your hands on the mat, we're going to take Bakasana. So bring your knees to the outside of your triceps. And hold here in crow pose. Breathing, you're going to gently lower your head to the mat and take it into tripod headstand if you'd like. Otherwise, stay in crow. Holding your tripod headstand. When you're ready, you're going to bring your knees back to your triceps and lift your head coming back into Bakasana. So it's going to take a lot of core strength to lift back up and then shoot your legs back and move through the vinyasa. At any point you can always skip vinyasas, you can go straight into down dog or take child's pose as well. Inhale, lift your right leg up, step it in between your hands and come into warrior two. So here your front heel is lined up with your back arch, your knee is directly over your ankle and your arms are extending and they're actively pulling away from each other. Your gaze is over your front middle finger and most of the weight in the front leg is going to be in the heel. We're going to take this into side angle pose. So lower your right hand onto your knee or onto the floor, taking that left hand overhead. And you want your pinky facing down so that the shoulder is externally rotated in its socket. Breathing here in side angle. Come back up to a T position and shorten your stance a little bit, coming into Trikonasana triangle pose. So here I like to grab my big toe with my first two fingers and my thumb, but you can rest your right hand on your shin or a block. Whatever gives you the most length in your spine. Turning your gaze towards the floor, I'm going to grab my block. You can place your right hand on the pinky toe side of your right foot, about a foot in front of it, coming into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. You want your arms extended and your legs very active here. So the raised leg, you're going to flex your foot and engage all of the leg muscles. Now here, drop the left hand, bring it to the mat, and taking your right hand to your hip, you're going to come into revolved Ardha Chandrasana. So opening up to the right side of your mat now, You can keep your right hand on your hip if you'd like, or you can extend it up. Really keeping those legs active here. Now gaze down towards your mat. You're going to lower the lifted leg and come into Parivrtta Trikonasana, so twisted triangle pose. Your left hand is on the outside of your right foot, and both of your legs are straight as you lift your right hand up to the sky. You really want this twist to come from your thoracic spine, not your lower spine. So every inhale, make sure you create length, and every exhale, twist a little deeper. We're going to take this into revolved side angle pose now. So here you can stay on the back toes, or you can move into the full posture with the back foot planted and the left hand twisted over on top of the right knee. In the full posture, your hand's on the floor, your left hand's on the floor on the outside of your right foot, and the right hand is overhead. Inhale up into Warrior One. Breathing here. Your feet are lined up front heel to back heel now, with a nice deep bend in the front knee. Bring your hands down to the mat and move. We're going to move into Ekapada Bakasana modified. So you lower your head into tripod position. Take your right knee to the outside of your right tricep and slowly lift your left leg up. And if you're comfortable here, begin to lift your head off the ground into Ekapada Bakasana. Move through your vinyasa from here. That's a really challenging pose. So if you want, you can just stay with your head on the ground and just build your strength from there. Breathing in your down dog, come back to your steady breath and lift your left leg up. Bring it forward, step in between your hands and come into Warrior Two on the other side. So you're lined up front heel with back arch. Arms are extended, actively pulling away from each other. Make sure your front left knee isn't coming inward to the center line, so press it out a little. And then come into side angle pose. From here, taking your left hand either to the outside of that left foot or onto the thigh if you want to modify, or even onto a block. Come up to a T position, shorten the stance a bit if you'd like, and come into Trikonasana triangle pose. Both of your legs are straight here, and you're pressing into the ball of that left foot. If you're holding onto your big toe, you're actively lifting it up with your fingers, and at the same time you're pressing back down. Turn your gaze to the front of your mat and move into Ardha Chandrasana on the left side. I like to use a block here to keep length in my spine, but it's totally optional. You can have your hand on the ground. Try to make a nice long line all the way out from your spine all the way out through your leg. Now planting your right hand on the mat, moving into Parivrtta Ardha Chandrasana here. So twist open to the left side. You can keep that left hand on your hip or extend it upward. Planting that raised foot down, moving into revolved triangle pose. So your right hand is on the outside of your left foot. Both your legs are straight and your arms are extending upward. Remember, every inhale, create length in your spine, and every exhale, twist a little bit deeper from your thoracic upper spine. Turn your gaze down to the floor, lengthen your stance, and move into revolved side angle pose. So again, you can just twist here. You can keep your hands in prayer, twisting here, Or if you want to go into the full posture, take your right hand all the way down to the outside of the left foot and raise your left hand overhead with the pinky facing down. Now raise your hands up, come into Warrior One. Again here, I'll have my palms together, but you can open up. If your shoulders are tight, you can definitely have your arms shoulder width apart. You can cactus out your arms, whatever feels comfortable here. Turning your gaze towards the mat, we're going to take Ekapada Bakasana on the other side. So here you can drop your head, taking your left knee up on the left tricep, and raise that right leg up. If you're comfortable there, work on raising the head up off the ground. And when you're ready, move through your vinyasa. You can always hit pause and try that a few times. It's definitely a difficult pose, but it's a fun one to learn as well. Breathing here in your down dog, you can also drop into a child's pose if you'd like. Inhale the right leg up, step it forward and come into Warrior One on the right side. Make sure your knee is directly over your ankle. And you're lined up front heel to back heel here. Bring your hands to your heart and take the twist. And here, if you want to, you can take a bind. So you'll take your right arm behind you and your left hand goes over the knee and comes under your legs, and you clasp hands behind you. And from here you can step your left foot forward, coming up into a revolved bird of paradise posture. Be careful with your shoulders here, it can be kind of an intense stretch. But if you'd like to, you can extend that right leg and turn your gaze behind you. Gently lower that leg and come back to the mat. Shorten your stance and move into a twisted triangle pose with your left hand on the outside of the right foot. Make sure to use your blocks if you have them. On the outside of your right foot would be a great spot for a block here. Drawing your lower belly in, protecting your lower spine here. Now gaze forward and move into twisted half moon pose, Parvrita Ardha Chandrasana. The block really helps create a nice long line here in your body. If you want to take it deeper, reach back, grabbing that left foot with your right hand and take a little bind. Now placing the right hand on the mat, open up into Ardha Chandrasana half moon pose again. And here as well, you can reach back and grab that foot, taking another bind here. If you're binding here, actively resist and press that foot against the hand. Look down at the mat and move into triangle pose, Trikonasana. Make sure you're lined up front heel with back arch here. Your arms are extended, and you can take your gaze up if you'd like, forward, or you can even look down at your foot. Whatever's comfortable for your neck. Now come up to a T position and move into side angle pose. We're going to move into another bind here. So, taking your left hand behind you and your right hand underneath your leg, take a bind, step the left foot forward if you'd like, and move into bird of paradise. So you can stay here with your knee bent, or you can work towards extending it up. It takes a lot of flexibility in the hamstrings here to extend all the way. Gently lower that foot back down, coming back into side angle, and open up into Warrior Two. Breathing here. Bring your hands to the mat, and here's a second opportunity for you to try Ekapada Bakasana. You can lower your head again or just try the full posture. Another thing you can do is just keep your raised foot down while keeping your head down, and then just slowly try to lift your head off the ground. And that'll help you build the strength as well. Move through your vinyasa and come back to downward facing dog. We're going to take that on our left side now. Still breathing in down dog. You can rest in child's pose if you'd like. Now inhale your left leg up, bring it through, and come into warrior one. Lined up heel to heel, front knee bent over the ankle, and your arms raised overhead. Try to keep your hips facing forward here. So you kind of have to bring your left hip back and your right hip forward to even them out sometimes. Moving into twisted side angle, and take the bind here as well. If you'd like, it's completely optional, or just stay with twisted side angle. If you want to move into the reverse bird of paradise, step the right foot forward and begin to lift up that left leg. Again, if you're able to extend it, you can turn your gaze behind you as well. Breathing here. One more breath and lower that left leg down gently. Step the right foot back. Shorten your stance, straighten your legs, and come into twisted triangle pose. Again here, the most important thing is to keep length in your spine as you're twisting. Draw the navel in and up. Bring your right hip back if it's coming forward. And again, just try to have level hips here. Gaze down towards the floor and take your right hand forward and come into twisted half moon pose here. If you want to, reach back for that lifted leg and grab the foot and take the bind. Actively pressing that foot into the hand. Now lower the left hand, opening up into side angle pose. If you want to here, take that bind, if you did on the other side. Really press that foot into the hand, very active here. Your left leg straight, all your muscles are engaged. Now gently lower into triangle pose. Really extend through that top arm, pressing down through both feet, engaging the muscles in your legs. Come up to a T position, bend your front left knee, and move into side angle pose. Again, from here, if you want to on this side as well, take the bind. So you'll take the right arm behind you, the left arm in front of the left knee, and bind behind you, clasping hands. Look forward if you want to move into bird of paradise. Step the right foot forward and lift that left leg up. You can stay up with that bent knee or try to extend as much as you can. Slowly come back to the mat. Move back into side angle pose and come up into warrior two, Virabhadrasana B. Your legs might be getting tired or a little shaky here. Lower your hands down to the mat and take Ekapada Bakasana on the left side one more time. Again, you can keep your head down in that tripod position or lift up and try the full pose. And then when you're ready, move through your vinyasa. Lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Come back to your steady breath here. Now begin to walk your hands back to your feet. Grab a hold of your big toes. Come up halfway, creating lots of length in your spine, and exhale forward into Pada Gustasana. So from here, grab your waist with your left hand and keeping your hands on the right toes, lift up into Utthita Padangustasana with your leg extended straight forward. When you're ready, take that right leg out, all the way out to the right side, and if you feel steady, turn your gaze over to the left side. Bring that leg back to center and gently lower. Try to get your knee to your nose. Let go of the toe, keeping the leg where it's at. Just lift it up, bring your hands to your waist. And then from here, take your left hand to the outside of the right foot and twist open to the right side. You'll take your right arm behind you and then just release from here. Fold forward, take your hands underneath your feet into Padahastasana. Create length in your spine and fold all the way forward. So we're going to take that on the left side now. So you'll wrap your fingers around your left big toe, bringing your right hand to your hips, and then just try all at once, engage your bandhas and lift that left leg all the way up to standing. Try to keep a nice long line through your body. If you need to keep your knee bent, that's fine, or use a strap here. Straps can be very helpful. Now open your leg out to the left side. Gently turn your gaze towards the right if you're steady. Breathing here, keep your balance. Bring the leg back to center and gently lower your nose to your knee if you can. Lift that leg back up, bring your hands to your waist, keeping that leg active and lifted. Hold it up here. A few more breaths. Now take your right hand to the outside of the left foot, taking the left hand behind you, opening up into that twist. And release here. Shake it out. Come back to the top of your mat. We're going to take Ardha Baddha Paschimottanasana. So close off your knee joint, open it out to the side and come into half lotus. If you have half lotus, go ahead and bind and fold all the way forward. If half lotus isn't in your practice, then just take your right foot to the inside of your left thigh and take standing tree pose here. If you're taking Ardha Baddha, you should be folded all the way forward. Your right hand is holding on to your right toes. And if you're in Ardha Baddha, come halfway up, create length, bend your knee, and come all the way up into standing. We'll take that on the left side. So close off the knee joint, rotate through your hips, come into half lotus, and then on your exhale, fold all the way forward into Ardha Baddha. If you're taking tree, just take tree on the other side. Breathing here. If you're in Ardha Baddha, turn your gaze forward, bend your knee, and come all the way up to standing and release your half lotus. We're going to move through a vinyasa. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, hop or step into chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now from here, step the right foot forward, open up to the side of your mat, and we're moving into Prasarita A. So your legs are wide, your toes are slightly pointing inward, and your arms should be lined up like a tripod headstand here. And speaking of which, if you'd like to, you can lift your legs up into a tripod headstand from here. Otherwise, just stay in Prasarita A. If you're in Prasarita A and your head isn't touching the ground, I recommend putting a block underneath so that you have 3 points of contact. And if you're in tripod headstand, if you want to test your core and balance, slowly lower the legs down and tap them to the floor, piking your legs. Lift them back up. And then splitting your legs, gently lower down back to the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the arms, create length in the spine. Grab your waist and come all the way up. Try not to fall into the water like I almost did. Exhale, come into Prasarita B. So keeping your hands on your waist, you're going to fold all the way forward. And again, I highly recommend, if your head does not touch the ground, put a block or something underneath it. You really want to engage your legs almost as though you're squeezing a beach ball in between them. So you're really engaging all of those leg muscles. And inhale, come all the way up. Open your arms out to a T. Interlace your hands behind your back and move into Prasarita C. Fold all the way forward. If you have tight shoulders here, you can just hook your thumbs, or if you are experiencing pain in your shoulders, you can gently rest your hands on your lower back. Otherwise, when you're here, every inhale, create length. Take your arms out a little further from your body, and every exhale, lower them a little bit closer to the ground. Inhale, come all the way up. Open your arms to a T, and we'll move into Prasarita D. So grabbing your big toes with your first 2 fingers and your thumbs, inhale, create length, and exhale, fold all the way forward. This should be your deepest fold yet here. Now inhale, create length again, and we're going to move into half splits or frog. I'm taking frog here. So you're going to want your legs, if you know how to take straddles, go ahead and take straddles. But if you're in frog, you have your knees spread wide and your feet are pointing outwards. Try to make sure your ankles are lined up with your knees, so it's making almost a right angle. And just try to get comfortable here. It can be a really uncomfortable pose, and it might hurt your knees a little. You might need a little extra padding, but you kind of get used to it after a while. Turning to the front of your mat, we're going to take Hanumanasana splits pose. You can stay with half splits here if you'd like with your right foot forward, or move into the full posture. If you want, you can place a block underneath your hips like I do if you're not all the way down to the ground. Just be careful with yourself here. I had a teacher say once that no enlightenment comes when you reach the ground in splits, so don't push yourself past your limit. And when you're ready, gently move to the other side. Again, just move slowly, listen to your body. If you want to stay in half splits, that's totally fine. Otherwise, slide into the full splits. If you want to, you can raise your arms overhead. Try to make sure that your hips are squared off towards the front of your mat, or in this case, the back of your mat. And gently unwind, come back to the front of your mat, and move into downward facing dog. Looking forward, jump all the way through into a seated position. We're going to move into Gomukhasana. So you're going to have your right knee stacked on top of your left knee. This is a really good hip opener here. But just be gentle again with your knees. I like to flex my feet to help protect my knees. And you can lift your right hand overhead and take your left hand behind you and clasp hands if you'd like. Getting a nice shoulder stretch at the same time as your hip stretch. Now lifting your right knee up, you're going to twist over to the right side into Ardha Matsyendrasana. In the full posture, your left hand reaches down and holds the inside of your right foot with your right hand behind you. But you can always just twist with that hand above your knee or try to bind behind you. A fun transition here would be to lower your head into tripod headstand and then switch so that your left knee is on top of your right knee and lower down into Gomukhasana on the other side. Otherwise, you can just switch your legs however you'd like. Now taking your left arm up and your right arm behind you, you can take that clasp on this side. Be gentle with your shoulders here. If you need to just grab your shirt instead of binding hands, that sometimes helps. Or if you have a strap, again, that would help as well. Now taking the left leg up, twist open to the left side into Ardha Matsyendrasana. Your gaze should be over the left shoulder with your left arm behind you. Your right arm can be extended all the way down, or you can hold it up by your knee. And now from here, we're going to jump or step back into Chaturanga. Inhale into upward facing dog, and exhale into downward facing dog. Jump through your hands, come to seated again, and lay all the way down on your back. We're going to move into bridge pose here. So bringing your heels should be directly under your knees here, and your feet hip distance apart. I'm interlacing my fingers behind my back, but you don't have to do that. It just gives you an extra shoulder stretch. Lift your hips up as much as you can, and try to keep your chin away from your chest here. Lower down. You can take another bridge if you'd like, or move into Urdhva Dhanurasana, full wheel pose. If you're moving into Urdhva Dhanurasana, just listen to your body here again. Be gentle with it. Otherwise, just stay in bridge pose. If you want, lower it down to the top of your head and rest a second, and come back up into full wheel. Otherwise, lower your hips and then come back into another bridge pose. Breathing here, and gently lower down. Shoulders first, being careful with your neck. Take a few breaths here, lying on your back. You can let your knees knock together. And then when you're ready, bring your knees into your chest, begin rocking side to side. You can make little circles with your lower back, make figure 8 motions, release some tension in your back. Then from here, we're going to roll all the way up into a standing pose, and just take any standing forward fold you'd like. We're just releasing the spine here. So just be gentle with your back. You can hold opposite elbows, gently rock side to side, You can take Padangusthasana again, whatever feels good. Step back from here into a down dog and gently lower down to your knees. So here we're going to take ardeshir or bound headstand for about 2 minutes. If headstand is new to you, I don't recommend taking it, or if you need to move to a wall, definitely do so. Otherwise, if you feel confident in your headstand, just go ahead and lift up. The main thing here is you don't want all of your weight in your head. You want only about 1/3 of the weight in your head, and the rest you're actively pressing down through your hands and your forearms, almost as though someone could come by and slip a piece of paper underneath your head. So really make sure you have enough strength to hold this posture so that you don't hurt your neck, because that's most important here. If you're upside down in headstand, make sure you're breathing, engaging your core, engaging your glutes. Your legs should be almost glued together, actively squeezing together and reaching out through your toes. So everything is really active here. Feel free at any point to come down. You can lower your legs, take a break, and you can always come back up. 2 minutes is a long time to hold a headstand. So if you need to take a break, make sure you do that. And you can always just work up to it. If you feel like you're sinking down into your head at all, then you know it's definitely time to come down. Again, just make sure you only have about 1/3 of your weight in your head. So, if you're still in headstand, you can lower your legs halfway down into ardeshir, piking the legs. You're really drawing your navel in here, engaging your legs, and bring them back up into full headstand. And then slowly lower them down to the mat, coming into child's pose. In child's pose, I like to keep my knees together and bring my hands back to my feet, gently pressing my forehead down to the mat. That helps release a little tension from your neck, if any. Come back to your steady breath here. Always make sure you take a child's pose after any inversion. It's very important. And whenever you're ready, bring your hands up and come into plank pose, move through a vinyasa, or just go straight to downward facing dog. From this downward facing dog, you're going to gaze forward and come to seated at the front of your mat. You can jump through and lie onto your back. Take a few rocks here, side to side again. Make circles with your back, whatever feels good. And take your left knee over to the right side of your mat into a supine twist. So you can extend your left arm and turn your gaze over that left shoulder if that's comfortable. I like to keep my knees bent, but you can extend that right leg if that's more comfortable as well. Slowing down your breath here, coming to the end of our practice. Bring your knees back up and come into a figure 4 stretch with your left foot on top of the right knee, gently stretching out those hips. Gently stretching your hips here. Now take your right knee across and take the twist on the other side. Extend your right arm if that's comfortable and turn the gaze over that shoulder. Gently twisting through the spine. Come back to center and take figure 4 with your right foot on top of your left knee. I always make sure to flex my feet here just to protect my knees. Go ahead and release that stretch and move into Shavasana here, a well-deserved Shavasana. Your feet should be about the width of your mat, and your hands and arms by your side. Just let your body sink into the mat. Release all the tension in your face and your shoulders. And just let go. Begin to bring small movements back to the body, moving your fingers and your toes. Roll out your wrists or your ankles. I like to reach my hands overhead, stretch all the way through the body. Just waking up your body with whatever feels good to you. Bring your knees into your chest and roll off to one side. You can rest your head on your arm. And slowly begin to make your way up to a seated position here. Take a minute to connect back to your breath. Bring your hands into your heart center. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. This class was heavily influenced by Ashtanga Yoga, so if you enjoyed it and are interested in more Ashtanga style yoga, come practice with me over on the Fight Master Yoga page for an Ashtanga second series inspired flow.